NBC10. Now, live from the News Center, this is News 10 at 11.
You thought it was over. You thought you had survived the winter unscathed. Then you took one look outside and saw all that snow.
While tomorrow may be the first day of April, tonight, most of us are coping with the biggest snowstorm of the season. Good evening, I'm Ken Matz.
And I'm Renee Chenault. Our top story tonight, a surprise spring storm battering us with snow, wind, and cold, and it's making driving treacherous. A Philadelphia police officer is a casualty of tonight's storm. Authorities tell News 10 he was hit by a car while trying to help a stranded driver on I-95. It happened around 9:45 tonight near the southbound exit ramps at Allegheny Avenue. Now, southbound I-95 was closed for some time. One lane has since reopened. The officer who was hit was taken to a local hospital. Now, News 10 just checked, and we're told the officer suffered minor injuries, but he'll be treated and then released later tonight. Traffic was a nightmare in Chester County tonight, where two separate accidents caused a 3-hour delay on Route 202. Police tell News 10 one person died in the crash on Route 30 and Route 202. The second accident at Routes 100 and 202 just added to the problem. Police have set up a shelter at a local firehouse for stranded motorists. And crews are out in force tonight, salting and sanding area roadways. News 10 caught this city truck on the job in the Northeast. The problem is the snow continues to fall, as do the temperatures. Now, that combination isn't making it easy to clear up the streets. In Upper Gwinnett Township, police tell News 10 they've declared a snow emergency there. Now, that means no one is supposed to be out driving. Well, that didn't stop a few daring people, as you see, from taking their cars out on the roads. But if caught, they face big fines. And the snow is still going strong tonight.
Let's check outside now. We're live at Penn's Landing. The walkways are snow covered. You can see the wind blowing the snow all around. It's even sticking to our camera lens out there. For the latest on this wild weather right now, let's go to meteorologist Glenn Hurricane Schwartz live in the Earthwatch Weather Center.
And as we've been telling you all day, the snow is continuing. It's going to continue all night. It's going to continue to accumulate all night. It's not going anywhere by the time you get up in the morning. Take a look at some snow amounts. We have some places reporting close to a foot. Springfield Township near the Turnpike, Montgomery County, 11 inches. Kennett Square in Chester County, 8 inches. Southampton in Bucks County, 8 inches. Willingboro, New Jersey, 8 inches. This is just as of a couple of hours ago, and that will continue. Other snow totals include just 2 inches at Philadelphia Airport, 5 inches at Downingtown. Take a look at the latest radar, and you'll see it's still all over the place. We'll take a look at the radar in time-lapse form, the future radar, some other snow totals, snow forecast amounts, and the 5-day forecast, which I promise you shows some wonderful improvement. That coming up in just a few minutes. Ken and Renee.
Try to buy a new car, much less try to drive one in the kind of conditions we saw in Chester County. This is a 2.5-mile backup on Route 202 North at Boot Road because of a series of accidents.
This weather caught everybody off guard.
Well, especially after what we had yesterday.
Yeah, I know. And let me tell you, it's keeping everybody off their toes and caught the PennDOT people off.
They're very icy, snowy, very slippery, and the traffic's just jammed up on them, and there's some people's trying to run too fast and they spin out, and it causes because the ice, they don't realize the ice is froze up so fast on them.
And the lady driving this white Cavalier was among those who spun out on an overpass.
It was scary. I thought I was going to go off the road.
Tell me what you were thinking when you were going through that whole thing. Tell us all about it.
Go off and die.
Have you ever been through something like that yourself?
Actually, about 15 minutes ago.
Road conditions were generally hazardous just about everywhere in Chester County. Emergency crews were responding to a lot of fender benders.
Calls, the radio is extremely busy, so they're on what they call priority alert, so we just go wherever they send us.
And I might add that they did a lot of calls tonight, a lot of accidents, and I might also add that PennDOT finally made it out to 202 North this evening. They instituted what they call a full call-out at 6:30 this evening of all their subcontractors as well as all of their state workers. They're trying to get to as many roadways as they possibly can tonight. They should have enough salt because, after all, they didn't have to use it very much this year. Then again, this is spring, isn't it? I'm Dan Cuellar, live on the Action Cam in Westchester.
Thank you, Dan. Now let's switch to Action News reporter Suzanne LaFranchi, live near the Neshaminy Mall in Bensalem. Suzanne?
Well, Jim, the snow continues to fall here at this hour, as it has for most of the night. However, over the last hour or so, its intensity has lessened. We keep getting occasional wind gusts, though, that remind us that the storm is still very much on. For most of the night, the folks here have had to put up with this unexpected wintry blast. It came down hard and steady most of the night. The driving wind-blown snow made for hazardous travel on Route 611 and the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
It's bad. It's starting to freeze up. And it's cold. I want to get in the car.
Many seem to think that Old Man Winter has pulled a fast one on Mother Nature.
I thought yesterday was gorgeous, today's horrible, but I knew we'd get one last one.
The early spring snowfall caught many off guard, including those who normally plow snow in the wintertime.
All the snowplows were put away for the year. So this is all all unexpected, and really we didn't need it.
The blizzard-like conditions put a damper on business at the Neshaminy Mall. Most merchants here say it was hardly worth staying open.
Very slow. Very, very slow.
Gloria Philippin says she can always tell when it's going to snow.
I have arthritis. I was hurting. And I said it was going to come early, and it did. And I said it's going to last till tomorrow morning. I have a bet with my husband, $50.
Wonder if she'll collect. Anyway, most folks here in Bucks County seem to be philosophical about this snowstorm. They say after such a mild winter, it makes this spring storm much easier to take. For now, I'm Suzanne LaFranchi reporting live in the Action Cam from Bensalem, Bucks County.
And also because it's going to be in the 60s in just a couple of days. This is a live picture from Sky 6.
Thursday, we had approximately 4.5 inches. We didn't make much money this year.
Well, to give you an idea, the consistency of this snow tonight took us about 10 minutes or so to make this snowman. It's a real hard-packed snow, real good for a snowball fight. So that's what everyone will be doing tomorrow. Live in Delran, I'm Tim Lake, News 10.
All right, Tim, thanks very much. And by the way, as Glenn said, this thing's going to be around for a few more hours and could mess up your morning commute. So News 10. Just yesterday.
I know. And to show you how unbelievable it is, let's do a little bit of a comparison here. Here's yesterday's Easter parade on South Street. No coats, people in short sleeves. It was a beautiful 68 degrees.
Well, tonight, here's what it looks like. Ugly. We've got wind-whipped snow, and that means salt trucks and plows, and the temperature feels like it's near zero. Feels like it. March has a split personality these days. Now, the question for meteorologist Glenn Hurricane Schwartz tonight is how could we have this quick turnaround like that?
Well, you can get such quick turnarounds in the spring, and we expected this monster storm and the drastic drop in temperature, but the storm just keeps going and going and going, and some weird things happening with it, as you'll see in just a minute. At the moment, we do have temperatures holding fairly steady, which is good news because they're not going to drop a whole lot overnight, and so we're not going to have a dramatic ice up. 57 was the high at midnight here at NBC10. It's 29 degrees. The low was 27, so it's actually up a couple. The wind's out of the west, and they've gusted to 40 miles an hour today. The barometer's still very low. Across the area, it is still snowing and blowing everywhere. 30 in the Poconos and Reading, near the freezing mark. Elsewhere, once again, temperatures may drop a couple degrees overnight, but that's about it. So a lot of the main roads, especially from the city southward, will be okay in the morning. The side roads and your driveways and parking lots, that's a different story. Wind chill still in the single digits, near zero in some spots. The crash that we've been talking about, 73 on Friday, warm all weekend. Then we're down near the 30-degree mark. When you add in the wind chill, it's more than 70 degrees colder than the way it was over the weekend. No wonder you notice it. The radar that we've been showing you, a band, remember at 6 o'clock in this direction? Well, that band moved a little bit to the south, and then another band, and this is called train echoes, where they move right over the same train track. That's Bucks and Montgomery and Chester counties. They've been getting slammed during the evening hours. 11 inches in extreme northern Montgomery County, Springfield Township near the Turnpike, 8.5 in Chester and Kennett Square. That was the bit of the surprise. Mount Laurel, 9 inches. Willingboro, 8 inches. Just 2 inches at the Philadelphia airport, so officially not the biggest storm of the season. In the Poconos, 1 to 2 feet of snow by tomorrow morning, 10 to 16 inches across much of Bucks and Montgomery and part of Chester counties by morning. 5 to 10 inches across the rest of the Philadelphia region and parts of Burlington County, 3 to 6 inches just south of the city, and 1 to 3 inches in the extreme south. Is that not amazing? Here's something else amazing. You can see almost an eye, the center of this massive storm, this bomb, as we call it, but it dropped to the south. It didn't move out to sea. It didn't move to the north. Look at the center. It moves southward, and that keeps the wraparound clouds and the moisture in that much longer. But in the future, by 6 o'clock in the morning, things starting to taper off, and by noon it's all over. Here's the forecast then for tonight. Wind-driven snow continues, 10 to 16 inches total. Some areas north of the city, 3 to 6 inches south. Temperatures holding a little bit below freezing. During the day tomorrow, the snow still in the morning for your rush, and it's going to be difficult. Sun possible late in the day, still gusts to 50 miles an hour. Highs only in the low 40s. If we get sunshine, it could get warmer than that, but we can't promise you that. We can promise you a nice warmer day on Wednesday as the snow melts rapidly. 68 on Thursday, 70 Friday, 62 on Saturday. And with all that heavy, wet snow on trees, there may be some tree limbs coming down on power lines.
Time has run out for delinquent water and sewer customers in Philadelphia. The grace period for winter shutoffs is now over. That means beginning tomorrow, residents who have not paid their water or sewer bills could lose their service. Now, to avoid losing water service, delinquent customers can call the Water Revenue Bureau to make payment arrangements. Big question tonight, what kind of weather do we see when we wake up in the morning? Here's Cecily Tynan in the AccuWeather forecast. Cecily.
Well, by the morning, the heavy snow will have tapered off, but the flurries will still be around, and the winds will definitely be kicking up. I have to say, we knew this would be a big storm, but this is exceeding all expectations. Satellite 6 showing a very stubborn storm system. It's really not moving eastward very quickly. A little bit. You can see the center of the swirl. That's the low. It's beginning to drift off toward the east and away from us, but unfortunately, it's going to be intensifying as it does. Action radar showing still very heavy snow. There's no rain showing up at all, and the snow is extending up into New England. Central Pennsylvania and western Pennsylvania beginning to clear out. The Poconos are reporting already 30 inches of snow. Also, Kennett Square as of 8 o'clock, 8 inches. So some parts of the viewing area will get close to a foot of snow before the system is out of here. It will, though, clear out of here tomorrow. Cold and windy for the morning. High pressure will be building in, and actually I think we'll see the sunshine by the afternoon, and we'll begin a warm-up as well by midweek. But overnight, this is what we can expect. The heavy snow will continue for the next couple of hours, beginning to taper off between 1 and 2 by daybreak. Some flurries still around. The winds will be gusting very high, overnight low down to about 30. A wind advisory is still in effect and will be through tomorrow most of the day. Winds sustained at 35 miles an hour, gusting over 40 or 50 miles an hour, so it's going to be very blustery. Tomorrow, April Fools, we'll see snow on the ground. Sounds like a cruel joke from Mother Nature, and nobody's laughing. Our high today came shortly after midnight, 58. Our low at 6 o'clock, 31. Right now, temperature is pretty much around the freezing point. Let's go live on Sky 6 and check out the situation. We're looking at the Platte Bridge, but you really can't see it because of the blowing snow. Right now, it's snowing in Philadelphia, 32 degrees, humidity 100%, barometer 29.51. It's rising. Winds still very strong. They'll get stronger throughout the night, sustained out of the northwest at 26 miles an hour, gusting to 33, so bundle up. The wind chill is 3 degrees. In Center City right now, 33, the Northeast 30, Camden 31, the airport 32, and here on City Avenue 33 degrees. And we report 4 inches.
Breaking events, up-to-the-minute forecast for the nation and specific regions, and fascinating insight that lets you understand exactly what's happening and why. WeatherScope, it's all the weather you want. Every 30 minutes on the hour and half hour on the Weather Channel. In this half hour, WeatherScope, a comprehensive national forecast. At 40 after, TravelWise gives you the latest on travel hotspots. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after, the storm update. Right now on the Weather Channel, your local forecast.
is a special edition of WeatherScope.
Blizzard warnings cover much of the Northeast tonight. Welcome to this special edition of WeatherScope. Hello, I'm Dan Atkinson.
And I'm Christina Abernathy. We've got a very powerful storm off the northeastern coast. It's been intensifying all day, dumping tremendous amounts of snow in the Northeast, as well as producing some very, very windy conditions. Let's take a look at some scenes from earlier today in Marshfield, Massachusetts. This is what our team in this part of the state is experiencing tonight. Snow is beginning to accumulate on the roads. Temperatures are in the low 30s, and the wind is making it feel much colder. Winds gusting to 50 to 60 miles an hour. By morning, our crew could be in about a foot of snow. We'll keep you updated. Weather conditions in Salem, New Hampshire here. Snow began falling around lunchtime and hasn't let up. The area is under a blizzard warning, and 10 to 20 inches of the white stuff could blanket the ground by morning. Temperatures are hovering right around the freezing mark. Along the Massachusetts coast in Winthrop, snow isn't the main concern tonight. It's the threat of coastal flooding. Wind gusts are at about 50 miles per hour. The waters are turning rough, crashing against the shore, and a potentially dangerous situation exists for people living along the coast. Well, let's see what's happened so far in the northeastern U.S. and, of course, tremendous amounts of snow falling here already through the Catskills. We've had reports of well over a foot of snow. As a matter of fact, Greene County reports there of 32 inches of snow. So again, in the higher elevations especially, we've had some heavy snow, but it's not only limited to the higher elevations. The lower elevations picking up their fair amount too. Our satellite view shows you in a little more detail where that area of low pressure is really wound up here off the northeast coast, pulling that moisture in, pulling the cold air in, and we're getting snow all the way southward to the Baltimore and D.C. areas, and the snow continues into the northeast too with this area of low pressure. And again, the moisture, the cold air wrapping around our low, and you also notice how tightly the isobars are packed in here, and that indicates to us that the wind is really howling, and that's indeed what is happening. Winds gusting to 40 to 50 to 60 miles per hour, and along the coast the gusts could be even higher than that. So we've got a heavy wet snow falling here from New England and to point southward, and with the wind really blowing out there, we are going to have problems with power outages due to down trees, down power lines, and of course it is not going to be a good time to be out on the roadways either because of the really messy conditions here. And again, this area of low pressure not moving terribly quickly, so the moisture just keeps churning in. The cold air is in place as well. It's been snowing from D.C. to Baltimore to Philadelphia to Hartford. Boston has been reporting thunder snow, snowing heavily there, so a convective situation. And again, this is something to take rather seriously, as I'm sure the folks here indeed are. As far as the totals, this is what we're thinking through noon on Tuesday. Some of the heavier amounts of snow possible here from Connecticut on into Massachusetts, and then on into points northward into New Hampshire and Vermont. And we could even see some heavier amounts than this. As a matter of fact, in parts of New York, of course, you've already seen over a foot of snow. So things are definitely not over yet. It's going to get worse before it gets better. We're going to see snow into tonight, into tomorrow. So look out. This late season storm is certainly still affecting you. Coastal problems as well. Coastal flood warnings in effect here, as we're going to see that wind really piling up the water. We also have very windy conditions, of course, marine and gale warnings here, and we also on into the north have storm warnings in effect as well. Well, that's how it stands for a northeastern storm, but we've got some more interesting weather across the rest of the country. Dan?
Other areas of the United States are also experiencing drastic changes in the weather. Salt Lake City, Utah is getting another taste of winter tonight. Snow began falling around noon today in Salt Lake City. Residents could see up to 3 inches by morning. It's tapered off for now, not snowing in Salt Lake City, but mostly cloudy. Temperatures are in the mid-30s and wind gusts at 40 miles per hour. It's quite a shock to folks in Salt Lake City because earlier this afternoon they were enjoying beautiful spring weather with temperatures in the mid-60s. Well, there's been quite a change thanks to a strong front that has swept into the western portion of the country. And for you in Salt Lake City, 24 hours ago, you were 21 degrees warmer than you are at this hour. Boise, you've dropped by 25 degrees since the front came through. 25 degrees, that is, you're 25 degrees colder now than you were yesterday at this time. Meanwhile, in the country's midsection,